different standards groups and met a new set of educational leaders. So I'm proud to say that CETA is now collaborating with CCSSO on this project called Project Nessie. And that project, the name was given to us, so I will share. We are collaborating with CCSSO's MindMap group, the CIO network, as many of you may know Brent Engelman. And through that, we have funding from the Michael and Susan Dell Foundation to support kind of a three-pronged approach to supporting interoperability at the state level. The first is organizing a task force, and we have some members in the room that will be participating in that task force, along with some superintendents and assistant superintendents. The next is a commitment to principles, which we're very excited. The leaders from Project Unicorn are here today to tell you more about that. And then finally, and this is where the real work begins, is developing a roadmap. So a set of resources for state leaders that they can coordinate with their districts to get to that place of interoperability. So we will be leveraging resources from a variety of organizations. We're going to depend on the states to share what you've learned and what you would like to know. We will be engaging starting tomorrow morning, rolling up our sleeves and gathering that information. So this afternoon, the second bullet here about commitment to principles, I'm excited to introduce Erin Moat. She is a co-founder, executive director of Innovate EDU. Innovate EDU coordinates Project Unicorn, so you're going to learn more about Project Unicorn and the state commitment to interoperability.
Hi everybody, how you doing?
Doing great.
Good. You know, my natural place is actually, I hate podiums. It's just not who I am, but I'm gonna push through it, okay? Push them through it. So today at lunch, you on your chair had a state commitment to principles. And we are really excited to take interoperability statewide with our partners at CCSSO and CETA. And I just want to especially shout out Christine and all of her hard work. It's not glamorous to be on 5, 10, 15, 20 conference calls with a lot of different organizations who are crafting this work. She has been a relentless champion of youth, to be honest, and has been really helpful in having and making sure that the leadership voices of state leaders are in the crafting of the commitment, and that we are reflecting the challenges of being a state leader in education today, the changing regulatory environment that many of you are dealing with, particularly as it relates to privacy and security, and the demands that you're feeling from state commissioners, from parents, from districts. And I'm very, very grateful to her work and her leadership, as well as Brent's at CCSSO. So if you could just join me in giving her a hand, I would really, really appreciate it, because I'm so grateful. So today, we are launching a state commitment to principles. And we have worked really hard over the last year with organizations like CCSSO and SETDA to have a conversation about what role states can play in advocating for interoperability, and understanding that there are different dynamics between states and districts, and that those dynamics look different in all 50 states, plus American Samoa, Guam, and others who are represented here today. So we recognize that there are really, really different dynamics here. And so some states had actually made the brave step and had signed the Project Unicorn District Pledge when we launched the District Pledge. And we sort of called them and we said, thanks for signing. It's not really for you. It's not really a good fit. We appreciate the support, and we want to make something that really speaks to your needs and speaks to core principles that you can implement, but also you can advocate for. And so you're going to see a little bit of a difference between the state commitment to principles and the two other commitments or pledges that we've launched. This focus is really on these 5 pillars, which is the state's role in collaboration, generating demand, being an advocate, promoting awareness, and also helping with accountability. And there are so many great examples of states who have already begun this work, who are already in the journey. So maybe some of you joined us this morning to hear from Eric from Oklahoma, who shared his journey and how, thank you Eric, and how it started all the way back in 2004 and how you're still going. And we're really grateful for that work. Please join us later today. You can hear from our friends at Michigan. Personally, like my adopted state, go Big Blue. I was a Wolverine. And so I like the shout out there. Thank you very much. Don't want to hear from any of you Notre Dame people. We are really excited to hear from state leaders about where they are and how they're moving forward. And then the hard work continues tomorrow morning in the Interoperability Roadmap Working Group. But these new 6 clauses are really focused on encouraging best practices within your community, sharing resources, and educating stakeholders about interoperability, enabling collaboration between districts and states. In Hawaii, you're so lucky, you're just one district and a state, so we feel you guys got it down. Establishing data governance. So often we talk about the technical work, but we don't talk about the human intervention and the types of work we have to do to actually make our systems and structures work. Creating collaboration between districts, advocating for interoperable data infrastructure, and finally, the practice of actually implementing. Now, I know that some of you might be sitting in this room and saying, like, weren't we here in 2013? Weren't we here many years ago? Haven't we been doing this work? And the answer is, yeah, like, we have not solved this problem in education. And legit, we are really far behind. Really far behind. And when we don't acknowledge that this is a core issue of our infrastructure, we hurt kids. Right? Kids need access to their data. Parents need access to know what students are learning. Districts need access to be able to do better when it comes to learning outcomes for our kids. And you all need data, not just for reporting purposes, but really some of the innovative work you're doing to support CTE, the work you're doing to bridge the K-12 higher ed divide. There's so much innovative work that's happening at states, and we just don't have the pipes to make it work. And so I am asking you today to stand up for interoperability and to really commit to the commitment of principles. So we recognize this work is hard and that you might not be in a position to sign a commitment of principles today, and that you're going to need some help advocating within your state and advocating for state leadership. We are here to do that, as are our partners. Please talk to other state leaders. There is differing degrees of interoperability in other market segments. Maybe talk to your folks who handle health records in your state. They have to follow interoperability standards because of Medicare and Medicaid, and might have some interesting tips and tricks for you about how they're doing it. Please reach out and learn more to any of our organizations. But I also want to announce today that Project Unicorn will have a targeted scholarship fund for state leaders to be able to have travel funds. It's a $750 scholarship where we're happy to pay travel funds and hotel to be able to go to varying conferences, whether they're standards bodies, privacy and security, that you can get as a state leader, or you can actually apply for your staff so that they have money to learn more and build their technical knowledge about interoperability. And then finally today on our website, we are releasing 2 case studies, one around the work in Michigan, the other around the work in Oklahoma, as well as a state interoperability toolkit. And so if you have any questions, you are very welcome to reach out to us, reach out to your representative on our steering committee. And I want to just thank you. This is the beginning of a journey together. I know it's going to be hard work, but I am proud to have many of you already interested in signing the pledge, already working to sign the commitment, already pushing it forward in your states, and actually, more importantly than a piece of paper or a commitment is doing the hard work. So thank you very much.
I also want to thank Erin first for the kind words, and then also to her team of Julia and Eric, who've been really supportive in bringing together. They had a large steering committee and a smaller working group, so it has been laborious, but trying to inform all and include all stakeholders' information. So more to come for sure on the commitment. And so shifting gears slightly, however, very related, recently, and many of you know, CETA has had quite a bit of work around instructional materials and access to digital instructional materials. So we were talking as a staff of, oh, well, we have this to do with the event, and this to do with the event, and well, when are we going to talk about navigating the digital shift? Well, when we just talked about interoperability, we do hope that all of the content that our students are accessing is interoperable. And I felt like it really fit here as a mother of 2 middle schoolers who, yes, the district has single sign-on, but yet we're still logging into different things, and I can't seem to understand what their assignments are all in one place. And I'm all about creating independence for a soon-to-be high schooler, but at the same time, we have interoperable challenges in my local district. So we released earlier this month, Navigating the Digital Shift via an EdWeb webinar with Lisa's team. And we are proud of our work on DMAPS, the online portal, as well as this report that embraces equitable access to quality instruction materials for all students. In this report, which everyone, there are nice, shiny, slick trifold at your table, and we have plenty more for states that have a conference coming up or you want to share back with your office. Our members still believe in that print version because working especially with legislators, they can go to a meeting and share with their school board, and it's not hoping someone clicks on a link later, but just having something in hand. And I won't go through the whole document with you, but there are highlights of examples where digital learning is in action in places. And most importantly, this version of Navigating the Digital Shift really focuses on the professional learning side. This is an area we hadn't dug into as much as far as what states are doing to incorporate policies and practices and implementing professional learning around instructional materials. But there is quite a bit going on in various states. We highlight those online as well as in the report, and we hope to continue to do that. Something I said that a reporter, I said it kind of in jest, and it ended up in I think it was a week article where I said, it's like having a Ferrari. You can have the greatest instructional materials, but if you don't know how to drive a stick shift, you're really in trouble. So we want to keep that in mind. We do hope that you take the time to look at this. Again, we created this overview document because not everybody has the time and energy for, we're down to 20 pages instead of 40, but we want to be proud of this work. So many people in this room contributed to that work, the accessibility team, accessibility leaders, as well as instruction material leaders and digital learning leaders from across the board. So, and now technically I'm in charge of logistics. So, with another 5 minutes of recess, we are excited. You might notice there's no dessert, and you're thinking, wow, I need some sugar and caffeine and chocolate to get through the afternoon. Well, our members are always asking to talk to one another, and that includes all of our private sector partners as well as state leaders and affiliates and guests. So we do have, we call it Ed Camp style sessions, because they are open and folks have spent some time over the last week choosing some of those sessions. In the app, there is a hyperlink to the Ed Camp, and I'm going to pull it up in a second after I finish talking. So dessert is in those rooms, back in the breakouts where you were. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so dessert is where the coffee was, and then the idea is you take your dessert in your room, and you can talk about accessibility, E-rate. Some groups are meeting downstairs. I can't remember what all the topics are, but there are 7 options, and then we would say to you, you know what, if you just want to meet out here on a couch and talk about STEM or whatever it is, feel free to just add another column and go connect with those leaders. So we have ed camps, and then, what was it? Sorry. Oh, and Candace has some one-on-one meetings scheduled with some of our leaders, and those are going to be downstairs in the lobby. Okay, so you're either going to be at ed camps, and then we have a focus group, and then we have some other sessions of breakouts this afternoon. So it's a busy afternoon. We appreciate your engagement and look forward to more. Thank you. Sorry about that. Platinum partners, if you're a platinum partner or a state leader or affiliate, and you're joining us for the conference, we are going on a trolley tour, and we meet in the lobby at 6:15. 6:15 if you're going on the trolley tour.